Okay, we'll call this infrastructure meeting to order. All three districts are present. Notice the meeting was properly posted on April 25th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of April 14th?
I'll move to approve the minutes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number two, TIF 2 and TIF 2A.
No
Stacy?
changes.
No changes. Okay. Item number three, capital improvements list.
I think we got some new numbers for the ninth floor of the courthouse. I'll update the report to reflect that after today's meeting. But other than that, we haven't added any new projects.
Okay. No action on three. Item number four, discussion and possible action to engage services for redesign of the courthouse ninth floor HVAC.
This one makes me ill. I have some information to distribute. I asked White and Associates, Mike Partlow and Caleb Spradlin, mechanical engineer, to tour with me the 9th and 10th floors to determine what course of action is best to install HVAC to the 9th floor. We had several options. There are electrical mechanical. There is chilled water and hot water reheat. Also, we have hot water steam coil units available in the courthouse, and a combination of that and just chilled water could be used. I had asked them to give me current estimates for budgetary purposes, the employment of using the existing chilled water and hot water that we use for the rest of the courthouse. And I have a design and budgetary figures that I'll give to you.
I'll move to receive the documents.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Quick question, Mr. Chair. The motion was for,
Oh, I'm sorry, to receive the documents that Keith is giving us right now.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, these are in the form of email and a crude drawing. So we asked for a design build approach using raw air handling units to be concealed by fur downs, either vertical or horizontal. You'll see that this is divided into phases, 1, 2, 3, and 4, which are delineated on the floor plan that you have in front of you. Phase 1 is the southwest corner, occupied by D2. Phase 2 is the northeast corner, occupied by the DA's Witness Center. Quadrant 3 is the northwest corner that is occupied by the DA as well, portions of it. And Quadrant 4, the southeast corner, also is occupied by the district attorney. The total budgetary number for all 4 phases, plus design and as-built fees, is $1,026,250.
How long would each phases of these entail?
I don't have the answer to that question.
And will there be a warranty?
Yes.
And how long will the warranty last?
The equipment typically is warranted for 1 year unless there are additional warranties provided by the manufacturer. Our current construction contract reflects those extended warranties to the benefit of Oklahoma County if they're so offered.
So will it be offered?
If there are extended warranties, they will be. Ordinarily, it's a 1-year contract. Now, these particular types of fan coil units are simply a motor, a switching valve, a thermostat, and a coil. Those traditionally come with a 1-year warranty. Mechanical systems that use compressors, fan motors, condensing coils, and evaporator coils, mechanical systems of that kind, typically have extended warranties provided by the manufacturer, compressors up to 10 years in some cases.
So the current system, did it have a warranty?
Yes, the current system under the contract at that time had a 1-year warranty from the general contractor. The general contractor did not extend to us any warranties beyond that point, nor did we call for that in the body of the contract. Since that time, the contract has been changed so that if any extended warranty is available, it comes to Oklahoma County. In that case, we had extended warranties on the compressors, which we accessed through the manufacturer using other contractors after the original general contractor, his contract had expired and his obligation was over. Since that time, we've had nothing but failure. During that time, we had nothing but failure with that system. And I believe it was a faulty installation. I can't say as to whether or not the equipment itself was faulty, but we reached a point where the manufacturer would no longer give us any help on the warranties because we'd had so much trouble with that. So to eliminate that, we'll not use a mechanical system of that kind. Although they're employed in other parts of the country, other parts of the city here with great success, that one has not been and wasn't. We'll use the same type of system that we used in the ICB, chilled water and hot water, also what we use in the courthouse, and to some degree, what we use in the annex. Those systems are predictable, easily replaced when there are failures beyond the warranty period, and easier to manage.
District 2, any comments since this directly involves you?
Yeah, I was gonna say the system before the maintenance staff wasn't trained to service it or maintain it, so it just was kind of a set up for failure, if you will. Keith, so all these 4 phases are kind of self-contained. Like you can do 1, 2, or 3, or 4, and it will take care of that quadrant of the ninth floor.
That's
Is that
the
correct?
expectation, and I do want to clarify something, that the statement is correct. Our staff was not trained to service these pieces of equipment. I'm told that the subcontractor that did the installation was not qualified to make that installation. However, when we had problems beyond the warranty period, we called upon contractors in Oklahoma City who were qualified and trained to maintain and service those pieces of equipment.
And then my understanding is like quadrant 1 and quadrant 3 are the two that are really completely down as far as no air at all. Systems in quadrant 2 and quadrant 4 are still relatively
Kind of each area on the ninth floor, we're utilizing supplementary standalone HVAC units like you have in your offices. So they're in the witness center as well.
So you feel pretty confident with this plan that White has come up with, is that correct?
I do. This is just what we employed when we had to go to the Investors Capitol building and build out the third and fourth floor. We bought coils and air handling units that were off the shelf, easily repairable, easily accessible. We located those in fur downs above the ceiling. If any of you had gone over to the ICB and seen what we did on 3 and 4, it would mirror that. And we had great success. Again, we put those things in one time, and then we didn't have to do it again.
To me, the prudent way to move forward would be to install one system and test it and do it in the one that is the most failed and needs the air conditioning the worst, which happens to be the southwest quadrant. I'll submit to your judgment if that's true or not. The west side of the building being the worst with the western sun and everything. However, there is air from the 10th floor that's being piped down that really does do a great job of cooling those offices, which are not occupied at the moment on the west side. So I would make the motion to go ahead and just move forward with phase 1 on this. That would be a good way for us to check the system. I have confidence in it too from all the discussions that we've had over the past 3 years. And I would move to take from the Commissioner's capital account to move forward to fund that.
Can that be specified in the contract? That
Yeah, we would have
only
to,
phase 1 until some form of testing is done?
we'd have to work with purchasing and also the district attorney's office to put contracts and agreements in place in order to move forward with design build on the project. But yes, we can. I don't think we can get anything done before this air conditioning season begins and is over.
And I'm aware of that too. And also, I would submit to Stacy any input you have, and Keith, you have as far as that plan to move forward and to get one system up and running and being sure that we're happy with it. What do you think?
Well, it's the traditional system that we have in our other buildings. We went to this new system. I can't even remember. I do remember some of the reasons. There's so low of a ceiling up there that some tall people might hit their head on a traditional system. You got to be careful where you place it. So this was to solve that problem. And when Keith and I researched it, we were sitting in a contractor's office who had that system in his office, and he said it was great.
Right.
And we went next door to a mechanical company, and they had the same system.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've installed a system in my private life that just same thing they have on the 9th floor, and it works great. Why we got a lemon on the 9th floor of the courthouse, I don't know all the reasons. Keith explained some of them.
Well, I think we're fortunate that, again, on the east side of the building, the other two are still working, and we might get, I understand you believe they're going to fail pretty soon, but we might maybe we'll be able to extend the life of those with, this would bolster the 9th floor having that.
I wouldn't count on that whatsoever.
Yeah.
But to go back to a traditional system makes sense as long as we got the clearance so you don't hit your head on it.
Which is in the plan, correct?
Yeah, that's right. The design calls for in places units that would be mounted and tucked up along the ceiling, and then where necessary, vertical units to be installed in some offices where we don't have headroom.
Okay, well, that would be my motion.
So your motion is just to move forward with phase 1.
Correct.
So I will go ahead and second that.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, number 5, owner's rep report on ARPA projects. Bill?
Good morning again. And prior to starting the ARPA projects, we just need to confirm that the phase pricing will be not altered by doing a portion. So that pricing may come back different, slightly different. Okay. ARPA. First off, the elevators. We have all submittals, all drawings are in, and in the ordering process of the balance of the elevators. We're working with Lingo, the general contractor, on the ICB remodel with the coordination of the elevators needed for ICB. So that, and the annex, all schedule changes have been made, and now we're expecting a December 1st, 2026 completion by Kone in all respects. So that's a month earlier than our requirement for ARPA. The 5th floor, we're proceeding with the original design floor. We had some talk about changing that, going back to the original design floor and finalizing some electrical requirements after that floor type determination. The asbestos abatement has been submitted to Stacy, and I believe we have a unit price on that, so that will be an amendment, not a change order to the contract for the additional abatement that is selected. So that project is still on track for February 2026.
What's the, tell me about this stair and elevator lobby change order.
That's the abatement.
That's the abatement, okay. All right.
That's the abatement for those areas that was discovered and needed to be go ahead and take care of. One of the items that the 5th floor or Mr. Warren had requested was one of the closets we're going to prep for a serving room. And also now we may need it, as we were just informed that they need dedicated internet lines for their credit card company. So it may end up being we're going to have to use it anyway. So the credit card company is requiring dedicated hard lines to their machines. Okay.
You believe the electrical revision will be this week?
Yeah, I believe all of that is in.
Okay. Thank you.
The 1st floor annex security, temporary wall is up. We also, and I'm going to let, we have an abatement review on that sheetrock that we've talked about. And Chris did some additional testing on the abatement for the county. And Chris, can you help me a little bit? I want to be sure I say it right.
Well, and please go into a little further on that, because in case
Okay.
Mr. Pettis isn't.
We have a common wall that was going to be removed. This demolition of the common wall discovered there was potential asbestos included in the sheetrock. We've done some significant testing and had positive and negative results on that sheetrock. Chris did some additional testing, and I believe with the latest test results, we are not going to have to do abatement on that wall, and I'll let him explain it.
Good morning. So the wall that Bill is speaking of, some in the mud and the joints, some asbestos was found, but it was just 2%. And there's different ways of testing asbestos. The first way is more of an opinion. The person who is very qualified looks through the testing and gives an opinion on how much asbestos they think is there. There's a procedure which is much more exacting, and it's called point counting. And so I had to point count it. This way, they take every fiber and they count them, and they come up with a mathematical equation. So it's much more precise and much more exact. If it's 1% asbestos or under, then we don't have to do a abatement. They saw it in the initial test. They saw 2%. When it's that close, it's a good idea to point count because, like I said, that 2% is an opinion. We point counted 3 samples. One sample came back 0.75%, so that's under the 1%. One came back 1%, which is the rule is 1% or under. The other one came back 1.25%. That is so close, I'm going to get in touch with the Department of Labor, who is the governing body, have a conversation with them, and that is so close, I would encourage them to waive that, and I think they probably will, and then we can proceed.
And when are you having this conversation?
Today.
Today. Okay. Hopefully we get a good answer.
Yes.
Good work, Chris.
And that will be very helpful to the schedule on the project and the cost. And so all those things are impacted, and it's consistent with other experiences I've had where this type of testing has alleviated the hazard. So that's the main thing. Next item is behavioral health services. Obviously, we're working through testing with standard testing engineering on some poor soils, and we should have those recommendations, final recommendations this week, and that will be include the removal and replacement of some of those soils. As normal precaution in Oklahoma, we do have a unit price for replacing those soils already included in the contract. So that's consistent with what expectations were.
Do you know any more today on that than you did 2 weeks ago when you reported on it?
That we are going to get the final recommendation and plan from Standard Engineering. They've had a chance to review the site and give us the engineering on how to stabilize that soil.
And that will be this week.
That'll be this week. We have a unit price already in place to replace those unsuitable soils, and we'll proceed with that.
Okay.
On the existing jail, HVAC, we're over 50% of the way. We're hoping for an August completion. Everything is tracking very well. We should finish up probably a month or two earlier than the contract requirements. And we have done some additional pricing for the jail, but everything looks very positive right now.
Okay. Thanks, Bill.
I'll move to receive report.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, number 6, update on meeting from the Citizens Oversight Advisory Board.
They did not meet. The chairman canceled the meeting for April.
Okay, no action on 6. Item 7, discussion possible action regarding selling mineral rights in Oklahoma County.
We had received a request from a company that wanted us to take a look at that. We saw this at the last meeting and didn't really have time to think about it, so we just left it on here to see if you have any opinions on it this week.
What are we talking here?
Well, we know we have oil royalties about $40,000-$50,000 a year, under the properties that we own. I don't know any other minerals that we do have or don't have. We wouldn't be able to work directly with this company. We would have to put it out some sort of a bidding process. So all companies would have a shot at it if you wanted to pursue that, or just keep your mineral rights and forget about it. But it was a request and came to a commissioner, so this is where it starts.
I would just say District 2 has no interest in selling their rights, and I would move to strike this item.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. With that, is there any citizen participation? Seeing none, any board comments, new business?
I would just comment on the air conditioning for the 9th floor. My intent would be to move forward with each phase. Phase 3 being the second one makes the most sense to me, so I just wanted to make that clear. But I think it makes sense to just proceed one phase at a time. That's my only comment. Thank you.
Nope.
I'll move to adjourn unless there's any other comments.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We'll wait just a moment for our District 2 to reappear. All right, we will call the PBA advisory meeting to order. District 1 and District 3 are present. We do have a quorum. Notice the meeting was properly posted on April 25th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of April 14th?
Move the item.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item 2, owner's rep report for PBA projects. Long time no see, Bill.
Good morning again. Emergency ops. Again, the project is proceeding extremely well. We have a little hiccup with some mechanical units that are being delayed, but we're working with the contractor and end users on trying to facilitate that area. So we're working through that one little hiccup. Everything else is progressing extremely well. We're still have the expectation of 37th Street in September. And so as far as the project goes, we're going very well.
How's the coordination with the employees going on the interior remodel?
I think okay, that is the area that we, I've heard nothing but positives, but we did have a delay in that mechanical unit. Lingo's, and I don't want to speak for them right now, but they are researching the possibility of putting in a temporary unit to get the employees back until we get it figured out. The elevators, as I had mentioned before, all drawings are in, all equipment is ordered, and the Koenig schedule meets our requirements for the ARPA finals. ICB, again, we had the asbestos confirmation in the basement, working through proposals with Lingo on the windows, and I think we have a solution, and continue the demolition through the building. The investigation in the basement on the slab, and it's been pretty positive. We're going to have, I don't believe we're going to have to take out all the basement floor or put in the piers. We may be just be putting in larger foundations, footings, spot footings, and we're going through that final review this week.
And that's the structural reinforcement?
In the basement, yes.
Okay.
So instead of putting in helical piers, we're looking at putting in spot footings, and the EOR engineer of record is reviewing that with Lingo and making his final recommendations.
When is your next meeting regarding that specific?
I believe it is Friday.
Would you let me know when that is?
Yeah, sure. And if we get test result or the final results prior to that, we'll get them to you.
Yeah, so that turned out favorable on those
Yes.
footings, right? I
Right.
mean, that's, yeah.
Yeah, for us, it was, we didn't go to the worst case. We didn't go
Right.
to the best case, but I think we have a very reasonable solution that'll be within our budget means.
Yeah.
Good. And really, everything else, we may have a small delay in the schedule due to the asbestos, but we're working through the schedule requirements. The schedule is still within all ARPA requirements, but we may have an extended general conditions for some of the abatement that we've run into.
There's no place left for us to find more mastic or asbestos now in that building.
That's
Would that
right.
be a
I
correct
think we're
statement?
done. There's nothing left.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right,
All
thanks,
right.
Bill.
Thank you.
Now I'll move to receive report.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, ICB exterior. Mr. Monroe.
White's probably the best one to talk about that at this point, but you can see the progress that's taking place on the exterior if you drive by. Also, there is a camera located at the intersection of Robert S. Kerr and Harvey, which will show the progress day by day if you're so interested in looking at that. You'll see that there is one window in the ICB that has yet to be removed. And that is, belongs to a space that's occupied by the treasurer, a small space in which he has records, important documents and so forth. We had a bit of a hiccup last week as to where to put those things when the contractor was insistent on clearing that space out. So I think we've come to some conclusion as to where those records can and will go. It's my understanding. And the contractor will be able to take that last window out.
All right. Anything on the interior you want to discuss?
Just that same topic, but
Okay.
I don't think anything else.
Okay.
I'll move to receive report.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, any participation? Seeing none, any board comments, new business?
I'll move to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.